And welcome to Sunday School with me, your host Sarah, here in the Luxton Temple. And this is where, if you're new or not, we pull 3 cards. You pick number 1, 2, or 3, and your card is going to help you figure out how to cultivate your own version of heaven upon earth. So if you're tuned into this Sunday school, you are very likely a proactive creator of your reality, someone who's not afraid to do the work, someone who's not afraid to get their hands dirty, someone who's not afraid to make sacrifices to enter into the flow of their highest conscious self rather than the ego consciousness, which is supported and encouraged by the current Western capitalist patriarchal society that we live in. Now, I like to think, perhaps naively, that we can cultivate heaven upon earth as if digging waterways through the current system that exists. So places, this can be very individual, so places where you find oppression, or you feel like you're trapped, you feel like you're stuck, you have repeating patterns, that's going to be your hell. And then if you also have societal views and cultural views on certain things that represent hell, that represent bondage, that represent closure, limitation, fear, those are all aspects of what would be considered hell as well. And so what we work to do is, how do we bring open heavenly well springs within the environments in your personal life or in the greater world, if that's something that you're looking at, that really work to cultivate a seed of heaven upon earth. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. You can also pick all 3. I'm not going to do an interpretation for all 3 though, so it's going to be up to you to put them together if you pick all 3. And this is, from whenever you're watching this, this is going to be accurate for the next week moving forward, okay? So go ahead now, pick card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3. And I'm going to start with card number 1, okay? Card number 1, how can you cultivate heaven upon earth? Also, I'm using the Thoth deck this week, the Thoth deck. Okay, card number 1, cultivating heaven upon earth. Okay, so it's the 10 of Swords. It is showing up reversed, which is a very important aspect of this card. So the Swords, it's the sun in Gemini, and Gemini, we just coming out of Gemini season. Gemini is really a very mental sign, okay? So Gemini is an air sign, processes everything through the mental sphere, which is swords, okay? So swords are also conflict. They're also ego. So they're how you get power, how you cut through things, how you articulate. Now swords can help you sometimes, but when you get to a 10, which is like the end, basically, 1 through 10, 10 is the end, you have to start over again. You can no longer work with swords to figure out your problem or to get to the next step, the next phase of your evolution. So this indicates that the swords have been exhausted, and maybe you've thought about something so many times that you have just found yourself at a brick wall and sort of going crazy, trying to figure things out in your mind. So the 10 of Swords indicates that you're all done. And for those of you who are watching, we did have 10 of Swords very recently. It's very interesting that it's happening again. So that indicates though that like rational solutions and laws are not going to help you cultivate heaven upon earth at this time. Now, all the swords you'll notice on this card, they are all aiming for this heart. So this is actually a diagram of the Kabbalistic tree of life. And right here in the Kabbalistic tree of life is called Tiferet. Now, Tiferet is the heart. Tiferet is Christ consciousness, or Sophia Christ consciousness, some people call it. That's unity consciousness, love consciousness, understanding that we are ultimately all one consciousness, existing as all these different vessels / bubbles in the ultimate one. So what Ten of Swords serves to do is to get you to a place where you can no longer figure things out with your mind, and you're only left with your heart, and you're left perhaps with a moment of absolute despair, giving up, feeling of loss. This might be affecting a lot of people with the Roe versus Wade thing that's going on. And there are so many choose your issue, choose your poison in the news right now, in the world right now. So this is just where you get to the end and you have to listen to your heart. You have to begin to process sorrow. You have to begin to process sorrow, okay? You've been through a lot. It's time to let go of that struggle, let go of that suffering. It's time to change gears, honestly, for you. So how you cultivate heaven upon earth this week for number 1 is you're going to change gears from the mind, from rational problem solving, and you're going to sit with your heart and with the pain that still exists with your heart. And you're going to start to feel that pain and allow that pain to open you to the helplessness that exists. Because a lot of you who have reached this Ten of Swords have maybe not wanted to look at the things that are painful to you in the world or in your life, and instead you've continuously sought to find solutions and order and structure and, you know, contracts or laws or fighting the good fight, stuff like that, that would keep you from avoiding what it is that's going on in your heart. Now, when you put the swords down and you stop to sit with your heart and you surrender to the truth that there is no wrong course, there is no wrong course. There is only the course that teaches you and conditions you to experience exactly what you need in any given moment to learn and evolve. And at this moment, you no longer need to learn how to use your mind. You need to learn to let that go and to be in stillness with the heart and to realize why your mind has been trying to articulate, to battle through certain things. What issue is it in your heart that brought about that defense? And when you start to surrender to that feeling that exists in the heart, at first there is a lot of pain, perhaps, but with that pain and allowing that pain and that vulnerability comes light, comes help, comes assistance from hidden sources. A lot of you who reach the Ten of Swords also have had traditionally a lot of guards up because you've been through so much pain, okay? So now is a time to bring your heaven upon earth, surrender, vulnerability, acceptance, and heart center for you this week, okay? Take good care. Now, card number 2. Card number 2. I feel like I should shuffle again. I'm gonna shuffle again. Card number 2. All right, so you've got the Sun and you've got the Sun reversed. Not horrible. The Sun is never bad. Like having the Sun card, funny. You watched number 1. We have this, which is about Tiferet, finding Tiferet, heart center after the Ten of Swords. And then we have the sun, which is also Tiferet, because Christ consciousness is solar consciousness. Okay, so the sun card reversed. How do you cultivate your heaven upon earth this week? I'm so sorry. This is so annoying. The sun card reversed is saying, accept mediocrity. Accept mediocrity. Not forever, but this week, that's how you cultivate your heaven upon earth. So a huge part of cultivating heaven upon earth for any of us is acceptance of what is right now. So that indicates that you may have been working towards something, working for something. Maybe it's your personal illumination and your consciousness. But, I think a lot of planting seeds and what we're planting in the world and ideas we're planting, and for ourselves and for the greater good of the world and our families and all of that. So with the sun card reversed, that indicates that you're having partial success in some matter of your life, okay? You're getting nourished in some matter of your life. This is also about the solar twins, okay? So the solar twins is also this deep feeling of unity within, and of connecting, interconnectivity to all things. And that can obviously be very difficult when the world is so dark right now. Like, why do you even want to interconnect with it? But if you look at the zodiac, you'll find like there's really incredibly dark things in the zodiac. There's Pluto, who's the lord of the underworld. There's Scorpio, who's the, rules over like taboo and like death. There's everything exists in the totality of the zodiac. Sort of the totality. We won't get into the 13th sign, but anyway. The sun card reversed. So basically you're having partial success, and it's just, I'm sweating. Speaking of sun, you guys, it's so hot, right? It's so hot in my house. So speaking of the sun, let's see here. Accepting mediocrity. Also accept the drawbacks of the sun. So sometimes, okay. For some of you, it's going to be flying too close to the sun, okay? So that's when your ego gets really into something, and you think, like, we can fool ourselves so much, and you think, oh my God, this is the mission, I've got to go, I've got to do this, I've got to confront this. But sometimes it's our ego running the show. It's not like our divine mission. It's something that's trying to make change prematurely a lot of times. And it's trying to push too hard, trying too hard. So ultimately, the way that you, card number two, bring heaven to earth is, well, acceptance. I don't like to say don't, so I'm trying to figure out the do with don't try too hard. So essentially it would be, do sustain a middle path this week. Do sustain a middle path this week. And do take on the idea of perseverance and focus and clarity and caution. Perseverance, focus, and clarity and caution. Those are going to get you towards that solar consciousness project, success, relationship that you're looking for right now. Don't lose heart. All right, card number three, the Emperor reversed. Real simple, card number three. You got to let go of control. Look at, am I the Emperor? 4 is my number, actually. But I guess I best listen to this. I guess I better let go of control this week. Okay, I'm with you guys. I'm with you, card 3. I can do it. Okay, so Emperor for card number 3, how to bring heaven to earth. There's a few things. The simplest internal one is let go of control. Okay, the next one though, Emperor is very masculine, very structured, okay? So that's maybe releasing your idea of what the masculine means. What does the father mean? What does the authority mean, okay? Is he hard? Is he cold? Is he commanding? Is he fiery? Is he passionate? This is an Aries card. He can be very pushy. He can be very much a bully. He won't take no for an answer. So when it's reversed, you know, the emperor can have definitely some arrogance with him. So that's also to think about who you're aligning yourself with as far as the masculine influences go that you're interested in and that you're drawn to, which can be a partner, a friend, it could be yourself, it can be a newscaster, it can be a blogger, it can be like an online social media person. So think a lot about power dynamics, and what kind of structures are in your life that are already built. The emperor is about structures generally that are already going to be built. Okay, the emperor has an empire, all right? Are you living an empire that you would build if you were the emperor? If you're not living in an empire that you would build if you were the emperor, start to think about what your empire would look like. What would your empire look like? And then think about what you do for a living, what your friend group is, what your hobbies are, how you interact with people, and how can you bring those qualities of what your empire would look like, what daily life in your empire would look like. How can you bring those qualities into being, okay? So say you work in a very hierarchical job. Say like your empire would be more egalitarian. So for instance, what if you took away the idea of hierarchy and you treated your boss just like you treat the custodian, okay? So that would be an idea of how you're cultivating heaven upon earth. And you have to remember that we're all vibration. You know, we're all matter, we're all form, but we are also all vibration. And when you think of us all being vibration, it's a lot easier to think about how what you are vibrating, the frequency that you are vibrating, affects everything around you and everyone around you. And it's contagious. So if you're bringing, in the example that I just gave, if you're bringing your egalitarian behavior into a hierarchical organization, other people are going to sense that. And if they like it, they might start to take it on, or they might get a thought about that, treating someone, treating the janitor as nice as they treat their boss. But if they don't like it and they don't like that vibration, they're gonna run away from you. They're gonna go away. But that's just fine. They're not ready for your heaven on earth. So that was a lot for card number 3. So overall, though, this is about redefining power, what a power structure is for you, and redefining how power is doled out and what you think is just and fair for the kind of empire that you would build, and what kind of illusory power structures exist within your own psyche that you need to let go. Who do you think is your superior because of cultural programming? Okay, because of cultural programming, which can also be familial programming. Whoever you think your superior is, strictly a program. Even if it's age-based, it's a program. We can rewrite the program, okay? So start to think about how you can be your own emperor. And what the emperor does is the emperor tames his inferior forces. So also think about it in terms of your own psychology. What are your urges that are uncontrolled, for instance, impulses, patterns that you could bring some discipline into? Loving discipline, if you want to bring the Empress in there too. But certainly, this is about bringing discipline in to control your inferior forces for your greatest good, for your greatest good, okay? All right, you guys, well, that is all for this episode of Sunday School, and thank you all for tuning in. I'm so happy to have you here, and please like, share, comment. Let me know what your experiences are with the cards. I love to hear that. I'm available for readings as well as distant Reiki healings and astrology readings as well. And if you are in the upstate New York area, I can do in-person readings, healings, and even parties. Okay, I love you guys.